Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. And of course, here's your meme of the day, brought to you by FiveMind.com. You know, at first with this story, I thought it was just another overblown freak out, another fake outrage campaign coming from the left, targeting a random Trump post. Trump said seditious behavior punishable by death on Truth Social. And the suggestion was that it was out of context. And talk about putting yourself in the line of fire, Dems coming in, assuming to be the accused. And in comes the mass public freakout. Oh my god, Donald Trump wants to kill us. He's literally Hitler. And that, of course, I thought was funny in its own right. Another display of pathetic victimhood manipulation. I thought the Trump post was out of context. Just a simple post or simple suggestion of legally defined sedition. Kinda dumb, kind of a nothing burger. But then once you start connecting the dots of what actually happened here, what led to the post, well, I mean, it's actually so much worse for these loser Democrats. It exposes the whole damn grift. Yeah, basically it gets even dumber. Let's go ahead and take a look at the whole story here. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. Alright, so it's important we get the full context here. What led to the post? Well, it all started with this coordinated stunt from the Democrats. In come Democrat politicians, those who are veterans and have served the country, and they take, of course, that veteran title, and then just totally blindly push some bogus partisan ad campaign.
I'm Senator Alyssa Slotkin.
Senator Mark Kelly.
Representative Chris DeLuzio.
Congresswoman Maggie Goodlander.
Representative Chrissy Houlihan.
Congressman Jason Crow. I was a captain in the United States Navy.
Former CIA officer.
Former Navy.
Former paratrooper and Army Ranger.
Former intelligence officer.
Former Air Force.
We want to speak directly to members of the military
And the intelligence community.
who take risks each day.
To keep Americans safe.
Americans trust their military.
But that trust is at risk.
This administration is pitting our uniformed military
And intelligence community professionals.
against American citizens. Like us, you all swore an oath.
To protect and defend this Constitution.
Right now, the threats to our Constitution aren't just coming from abroad,
But from right here at home. Our laws are clear. You can refuse illegal orders.
You can refuse illegal orders.
you must refuse illegal orders.
No one has to carry out orders that violate the law
or our Constitution.
You got this little Democrat public service announcement with all these lawmakers, all with military or intelligence background, looking straight into the camera and telling active duty service members that they should refuse illegal orders. Ooh, the president in his fascist ways, we must resist him. And so yeah, it's a whole lot more ridiculous when you understand the true context here. And it's even more ridiculous if you have the ability to think, because when you look at the larger picture, look how laughably low the Democrat standard is, the bar is, for illegal or war crimes, authoritarian, fascist dictator, whatever Trump is every single week. It's a new freaking title. He's the king of criminals. He's Al Capone. Every other week he's guilty of some odd crime that never actually materializes into anything other than a false accusation, smear, slander. And so I guess we're supposed to go on that basis, right? Every time Rachel Maddow's on MSNBC declaring to her gullible sheep audience that the commander-in-chief has yet again committed an illegal sin against humanity, I guess it's time for all military personnel who vote for Democrats to now start sabotaging the president and defying his military orders as commander-in-chief, commander of the US military, and executive of the nation. Yeah, that makes absolutely no sense now, does it? And I question, where was this grand moral stand when every other president before Donald Trump engaged in illegal acts or war crimes? You know, when Barack Obama was running half-witted frickin' drone programs, blowing up civilian casualties across the Middle East, where was the military uprising against the commander-in-chief then? Oh, I see, it's only for Donald Trump, right? Funny how this refuse illegal orders talking point only shows up when Trump is in office. And I think a key point here is that there's already processes in place for handling illegal orders. There's a chain of command, there's review processes, there's already a very complex legal framework around all of it. Not to mention, on the flip side, there's this kind of understanding that the president has to deal with the most difficult situations. You're the head of state of the global superpower on the world stage. You're dealing with some of the most difficult situations. And presidents don't always make the right decision. Sometimes they do the wrong thing. Unless really egregious, the public tends to look the other way. But of course, with President Trump, it's a completely different standard. Democrats are telling troops to treat the commander-in-chief as presumptively illegitimate and to second-guess every decision now coming down the chain of command. That is insane. To push this kind of hysteria to sabotage the military chain of command. And really just think about the implications. Matt Taibbi mentions a pretty interesting point.
It's such blatant, bad, overwrought propaganda. And this whole idea of you can refuse to obey illegal orders, well, that's always been true. And we've had a gazillion illegalities in government that the Democrats didn't say a word about for decades. So why now? Also, just this general notion of encouraging an uprising, essentially. There are so many things about modern politics that just make you shake your head and say, we're just in this new territory. I don't even know how to think about it. That's beyond insubordinate or unhelpful. It reminds me, again, of the beginning of Russiagate, right? When there were all these leaks about encouraging people not to share intelligence with the United States. Yes, that made Trump look bad, but it also made the United States look weak and vulnerable, and sent a signal that the country was in schism and maybe the government was not stable. Is that what they're trying to project?
This is what's so frustrating with how the Democrats do politics in the modern day. It's get Donald Trump seemingly at any and all cost. And they're willing to push something like this, so terribly hyperbolic. These grand claims of him somehow trying to take over government. There's a fascistic coup of sorts happening in America, and there's now calls for the military to form a sort of resistance against the president. That doesn't just make Trump look bad, that makes the United States look bad. It makes the country look divided, unstable. It plays into the hand of these authoritarian regimes and their state propaganda about America and trying to undermine her on the global stage. Democrats once again are inflicting serious damage, all in the aim to sully Donald Trump. And they've been doing it forever. All these conspiracies and these lies and these attempts to dismiss and delegitimize him on the global stage, to suggest that the world is laughing at him, laundering in all these stories that are pushed without context to the world, which led to situations like we saw at the UN when the president came to warn them about their reliance on Russian energy and about the risks of mass immigration as well. And the German delegation literally laughed in his face, but 8-9 years later, he was totally freaking right and has been vindicated. They've been playing with fire and hurting America's image on the world stage for a very long time now, inflicting political damage on their opponent in the most deceptive and dishonest of manner, and causing all kinds of damage in the process. And that's what they're doing here. And of course, there's also the other element that it could very well be perceived as a seditious conspiracy. I'll tell you what Democrats are engaged in here, I think, is a whole lot closer to a seditious conspiracy than anything on January 6th or the events leading to it prior, or anything akin to a supposed insurrection. And so that's the context behind the Donald Trump post, saying that sedition is punishable by death. And yes, this is true under civilian law. You've got seditious conspiracy, which can land you 20 years in prison, but under military law, sedition in a wartime context can technically carry the death penalty. So Trump, in his obviously over-the-top way, is referencing a real legal concept here. And now here's where the story gets even more dumb and dishonest, as following this post and this legally factual reminder, the Democrats now insert themselves and go full friggin' victim mode. They go from calling for sedition against the president because he's a fascist, to then being called out by the president, to then immediately flipping it on him and suggesting now he's the fascist for suggesting that military sedition in the country could lead to the death penalty, as the Democrats are trying to incite a military insurrection of sorts against the president. I mean, give me a freaking break. Here we go again with the fake cries of tyranny, the clutching of pearls. Poke the bear, cross the norms, get a response from the president, and then play victim. Oh, Donald Trump wants to kill heal us. It's just so freaking stupid. Another manufactured crisis. So tiresome, so manipulative. Every week, democracy is over. Our shutdown didn't work. Our No Kings rally didn't work. Our SNAP benefits ransom didn't pay off. Quick, let's call for a military uprising and then play victim when Donald Trump responds with a simple rhetorical jab. It's the theater kid party. Bunch of frickin' hairy sissons dancing and prancing on a frickin' stage. Ooh, the tales of Donald Trump's endless fascism. I'm sure it's selling massive tickets in New York City. But for those of us who haven't been infected by the woke mind virus, holy crap, is this an overrated show. Anyways, that's what I got for you guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.